Oh, I love this question. Who's going to be selected to their first All-Star game? Now, there's going to be no actual All-Star game, but we think they'll name the All-Stars because content is king, baby. So why wouldn't you? Lee, get us started. Who's a guy that's never made the big game will at least get selected to it here in 2021 eventually?
I talked a lot about him yesterday. I think it's Jamal Murray. I think it has to be him. I mean, he was a superstar down there in the bubble. He was fantastic. 26 points a game, 45% from downtown, and just some of those magical moments. Carried his team to the conference finals along with Nikola Jokic there, but he really stepped up. And if he doesn't make the All-Star team this year, I'm going to be very disappointed because he's a super talented player. He's got a little bit of swagger about him, a little bit of cockiness out there. I think he can get under the skin of his opponents, but he absolutely can perform too. He's not afraid of the big moment. Apparently his dad really got him to meditate a lot when he was a kid, and so that helps him in those moments, in those clutch moments. He can really stay there. So, he's great. He's got a huge a future there in Denver. They gave him the huge contract last season, and he started off a little bit slow, but once he got it together, he's fantastic fun to watch, a great player. And I really, really think this year he's almost a lock to make the All-Star team, because I think someone like Chris Paul, who made it last year, probably doesn't make it this year. You know, I think in Phoenix, I mean, Booker made it, of course, last year as an injury replacement. Mm-hmm. But if Chris Paul made it this year and Devin Booker didn't, that would be bad for the Phoenix Suns, I think. You know, I think they need, and DeAndre Ayton would be another one that they want to make the All-Star team. So I think there's a little spot there, but I also just think Jamal Murray is going to knock that barn door down and force his way onto that All-Star team anyway, regardless. So I hope it happens.
Yeah, you said his dad had him doing a lot of meditation as a kid. I think his dad had him like shooting free throws in the snow. And also, I just saw through an Instagram clip, apparently when he was young, his dad made him do like wall sits, right? Like the classic wall sit where your back's against the wall and you got your knees bent, you got to hold it, you know, you're working on your core and your quads. But he made him put like a hot cup of tea on his knee. Yeah. Wow. And so of course he had to keep it stable there, or he's dropping hot tea all over his knee.
That's dangerous.
Which is a nice bar, actually, now that I think about it. Hot tea on the knee. So yeah, and I guess he was known as Glitch too. He had an old nickname called Glitch, which obviously fell off because we don't call him that at all. But I don't know. I don't actually mind it.
Nice one.
It's a little weird one.
Luckily,
but
he didn't glitch when he had that tea on his knee.
Yeah, luckily. I actually had a trivia question for you guys before we got to the answers, but we already got Jamal Murray. I figured you were going to go with him there, Lily. Last year, we had 10 FirstTime AllStars, guys. Can you name all 10?
You believe
Can you do it collectively as a group? You want to have a go at it, Lily? You want to give it a start? Don't look it up, by the way.
No,
I see you looking at your computer pretty intently there.
No tabs open today. I'll say Devin Booker because he was in the injury replacement.
Okay, then Taz, we'll go around here. See if we can name them.
Luka.
Yep.
Trae Young.
Trae Young, correct. Lee, back to you.
Jason Tatum.
Correct. Taz?
Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
Rudy Gobert.
That's right. Lily?
Jokic was one the year before, I think,
not
wasn't
Jokic.
it? Yeah. Brandon Ingram.
Yes, you've got all the Western Conference guys. Taz, back to you. There's 3 East guys left.
Pascal Siakam.
Yes. Come on, Trey.
Uh-oh.
We just talked about one of these big
Bam
guys.
Adebayo.
Oh, Bam. It wasn't even the one I was thinking of. And Lily, take us home. Final one. We were just talking about his team. Can he work with another guy in the front court?
Middleton.
His dad was awesome.
Sabonis.
Come on, say it. Lee, come on, say it.
Sabonis.
His dad was awesome and had a giant head.
Sabonis, yeah.
Okay, thanks for playing.
Yeah, he didn't play, though, in the end. Or did he play? Oh, yeah, he did play. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He got some rebounds.
Yeah.
Tess, FirstTime All-Star. Who do you got? Actually, the reason I brought that up is because it may be difficult to have a lot of FirstTime All-Stars because you got that many last year. A lot of those guys we just mentioned, I think, are going to be in play to make it again. Maybe not all of them, but like 7 or 8 of them at least. So it might be more difficult task to find a FirstTime All-Star. Who do you go with?
Yeah, the younger guys have already started taking hold of the All-Star game. That's totally true. In the West there, I think Jamal Murray, will sneak in. The West guards, it has been the most clogged spot for years with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. But now Westbrook goes east. Who knows what happens with Harden? Chris Paul, I think, does lose his spot because Phoenix only going to have one. It's probably going to go to Devin Booker. So I think Jamal Murray can jump in there. Will there be another spot for a West guard? Probably Steph actually comes back and grabs
Lillard
his spot.
And Steph, yeah.
I think Jamal Murray number 1, but I think there is a chance for Drew Holiday to sneak in there in the Eastern Conference. Ooh. I know it's not his first time, but I'm just thinking guys that haven't been there forever. I mean, he got there, I guess it would be probably 7 years in between his All-Star appearances. When his first one with the Sixers in 14, I think it was. Or was it 13? I'm not sure. But anyway, I think he can sneak in there because it's always with the Bucks. They're the number 1 seed. Giannis will be there. Chris Middleton will be there. Do you give it to Eric Bledsoe? Well, Eric Bledsoe's gone. Drew Holiday could probably take that spot. So maybe he jumps back in there, and it sure seems like he's a first-time All-Star because no one ever remembers he's an All-Star. We always say, oh, they're trading this All-Star. They're trading Chris Kaman. He made an All-Star game once. People don't even say that about Drew Holiday because they just forget that Drew Holiday was sort of, he was on the periphery of being a star and then got traded for Nerlens Noel, and then things got happening there. So that was a weird situation, but he can be that guy for sure. He's in a perfect spot to be the secondary or tertiary ball handler there in Milwaukee.
Yeah, last time he was in the Eastern Conference, he was making an All-Star game. So I see what you're thinking here. So yeah, not technically a first-time All-Star, but I do wonder, there's a question for Schumann if he's over here. I wonder what the biggest gap is between making an All-Star team and then not making it till another one. Like, what's the biggest window there? It's 7 years? It's a pretty.
This would be 8 years actually. It was 13 when he made it.
Okay,
Manu had a bit of a break between his two, but I don't think it was that long.
It's quite big. So there's a fun question for somebody to figure out there. Okay, so yeah, cheating a little bit, but he goes back to Drew Holiday, maybe sneaking in there. We got Jamal Murray. Anyone else, Trey?
Yeah, another Eastern Conference guy. You mentioned, Lee, how Kemba Walker's already out until January. I think the Celtics look like a little bit of a thin team, and I think they're going to need a lot from Jaylen Brown, and I think he is capable of improving. He's a great transition player, great defensive player. He can knock down an open three. The Celtics are going to need him to put the ball on the floor and make some plays, especially while Kemba is missing some time. Jaylen Brown has not yet made an All-Star team. Lee had him on his reserve picks last season, but hasn't made it yet. I think he could certainly be knocking on the door in the Eastern Conference, especially if Kemba's injury keeps it. Even if he returns, if he's a little bit slowed up once he comes back, they're going to need some more from somebody on the perimeter, and that to me is Jaylen Brown. Tatum will be there, no doubt about it. The Celtics should still be a pretty solid regular season team. They'll probably get to All-Stars once again, so I think Jaylen would be that guy.
Yeah, I have him on my short list as well. I also forgot that Kemba Walker started the All-Star game last year for the Celtics. So yeah, if with him out with an injury, that makes sense because we were debating, is it Jaylen or is it Tatum if you were just taking one last year? So you could see him growing into that. Might as well play hey, what about this guy a little bit here because I got a short list here. Jamal Murray was on it, Jaylen Brown. What about Ja Morant? I think it's in play if the Grizzlies are winning some games. I think he's obviously the star player on that team, and I think you're right. It's not easy for guards in the Western Conference to get in there, but I think he could crack it. What were you about to say there, Lily?
Well, it's the same with Zion. I think they both potentially can do it, but they I mean, and Luka and Trey made it in their second years, so it's not just that they just saved them for the rookie sophomore event, so you can make it.
Right.
It just sort of feels like Morant, he will be good. Just how many wins will the Grizzlies get? And again, just the depth in that Western Conference. And that's the same thing with Zion. I think it might be just a little tough for him to get in this season. But yeah, I mean, if Zion's putting up 20 and 10, which is possible, then he's gonna be hard to keep out of the game.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what Morant's sort of best numbers are going to be there out in Memphis. And again, whether or not he can just sort of some of those older veteran guys, again, you mentioned, like Steph coming back, you figure he's probably going to be in there. So might be a little tough for him, but just a matter of time. I found something on Reddit here about the longest gap between All-Stars. Drew Holiday definitely would win that if he does get selected because of Frank Selvey, apparently, in 1955 and then 1962.
Oh, I remember it, yes.
Because there was talk.
Yes.
There was talk about Derrick Rose. Remember,
I thought you were going to say there's talk about another All-Star in 1962, whether or not he was going to make it, but Frank Selvey came in and stole it.
Well, the thing it was brought up because Derrick Rose, I think, was in contention last year in some people's mind. It would have been 8 years for him since his last All-Star appearance. So, yeah, Drew would absolutely have the record.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to do fan voting again for the All-Star game this year. So. You would think so, but the argument is always, it's a game for fans. Let them vote on it. Ain't no game this year.
Yeah,
Ain't no
right.
injury replacements this year. We're not going to be getting as many All-Stars. There's usually one or two extra that you're throwing into the mix. But if fans are voting, that helps Zion, right? He could still start the All-Star game. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And if that's the case, maybe we don't see Brandon Ingram back again.
Yeah, no, that's true. And other guards in the West, I mean, we talked about if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 25 and 5, that he could maybe
Lock it
sneak in there. Yeah, he would be a lock in that case. I think if the Blazers play as well as I have them playing, I mean, I think they're going to be knocking on a top 3 seed there. I think CJ McCollum at that point would get some consideration possibly with Lillard. De'Aaron Fox, it's going to be tough for him. I mean, the Kings would have to really impress right out of the gate for him to crack it. And the only other guy I have Fred VanVleet. Tass, is that insane? Like, can you picture a scenario where VanVleet puts up the numbers and the Raps, maybe are a top 4 team by the All-Star break, that he could get in there?
Yeah, I think he would take Kyle Lowry's spot. Kyle Lowry was an All-Star last year, so Pascal would be the first guy, but Lowry was there for his 6th All-Star appearance. Is Lowry done with All-Star appearances? It would be sad. But he was a guy who had, actually looking at it, the most All-Star appearances in the Eastern Conference last year when he was there. But the Eastern guard spot is the soft spot. Trey brought up Kemba Young. I combined Trey Young and Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker potentially being injured. Him and Trey Young started last year, so Trey Young would probably be there, but Kyle Lowry's spot could be up for grabs there. So, yeah, totally. I could see Freddie getting in there or Drew Holiday getting in there.
Maybe a Brogdon, I guess. He was sort of in contention last year. We were throwing his name around with how well the Pacers were playing. I guess Oladipo will be back in the mix if he plays up to his capabilities.
Yeah, it's old-timey guys, actually, in the Eastern Conference that are going to be trying to get in the All-Star game. Kyrie Irving, you think, will probably be in the mix for an All-Star spot as well. Brad Beal, Russell Westbrook, Gordon Hayward, Blake Griffin could make an All-Star team. These are guys that have made like a million All-Star teams. It feels like we're in the 2010s again in the Eastern Conference, but they're good. Russell Westbrook is good. Remember when he was an All-Star and All-NBA last year? He'll probably make it this year.
Yeah, forgot about him.